Let's talk about, well, they're calling it censorship on campus. I suppose it is. But the latest ludicrous innovation of universities in this country, these centres of learning, the dreaming spires of academia, they're scrapping challenging books. They're jettisoning challenging books from their courses because that is supposed to protect Snowflake students. It's going to protect them. But one might say, well, challenging books are what university is all about. Let's talk. She's come into the studio. Very pleased to see a political commentator, Reem Ibrahim. Welcome, Reem.
Hello, thank you for having me on.
Thank you. No, sorry, but I bet it's not too long since you were at university, is it?
No, I'm actually just finished my second year at university.
Oh, she's at university.
I'm at university.
You go. Yeah.
Yeah, so LSE, notoriously sort of left-wing university, founded by the Fabians, as you know. Yeah. And I'm really quite appalled by this. I think it's pretty hypocritical. There's all of this push for decolonising the curriculum and really showing, the realities of history. And here they are now too snowflakey to even see what the realities of history are.
Among the books that are being taken off the shelves at least 3 Russell Group universities, these are the top universities of the country, are the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. That's been removed permanently from a course reading list at Essex University because it features graphic depictions of slavery. So what? Also at Sussex University, they've withdrawn the classic play Miss Julie by August Strindberg. That's been withdrawn from an English literature module because it includes a discussion of suicide. English students at Aberdeen University are told they can opt out of discussions on a module about Geoffrey Chaucer and medieval writing, as the course sometimes entails engagement with topics that you may find emotionally challenging. This is anti-education. I mean, what is it they're trying to protect students from? Learning something?
Honestly, being challenged by anything for once in their lives. I mean, there is this really bizarre push amongst my generation where we're sort of very protective over our mental health, which is completely fine. But then when that protection then extends to censorship, to, wrapping us in cotton wool to the point that we're not challenged at all, we go to university to be challenged. And so I think it's totally absurd that we're not being challenged with these texts. I mean, really, it's quite shocking. And I think it actually, gets quite dangerous when we stop talking about the realities of history. Slavery happened. These are real people that really, really hurt people. And if we're not being taught about it, then we are in danger of forgetting that history. I mean, it extends to all of those things. Slavery, when it comes to things like the Holocaust, absolute tragedies that have happened in history. If we don't talk about it and we don't actually understand the realities of that horrendous event, then we will never be able to really be challenged.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the logical extension of this is on history courses, you stop talking about things like the Second World War because it's a bit challenging and it might upset students. I mean, the insanity of this is almost impossible to fathom. Who's coming up with this nonsense?
It's really unfortunate. I mean, I really doubt that the students have pushed for this. If they do feel as though that they need a trigger warning for those things, I mean, seriously, university is supposed to prepare us for the real world. The real world does not come with trigger warnings. It does not work like that. You have to be able to see things that are maybe, yes, emotionally upsetting. Maybe they might trigger something, but at the end of the day, this is the real world. This is the reality of history. We have to be able to understand it so that we don't repeat it.
Yes, those who don't learn from the mistakes of history are doomed to repeat them. What is wrong with graphic depictions of slavery? Since everyone's getting their knickers in a twist about slavery, which hasn't been around for about 3 centuries in this country, but suddenly it seems to justify pulling down statues of people who died in the 17th century. Since everyone's getting their knickers in a twist, they ought to know what slavery is all about. It is graphic. It was disgusting. You might as well know what it entailed if you're going to object to it.
Absolutely, and this is where we start forgetting the realities of history. I mean, so when I'm at university last year, I took a literature module where we looked at sort of Eastern European history and books that came out of the ex-Soviet countries, and it really shows the realities that socialism creates, the sort of realities of deprivation, the realities of poverty, and a lot of it was incredibly graphic. It sort of described people in the gulag starving, and it shows the realities that socialism provide. If we don't look at this history, we don't talk about this history, if we then start saying that this is too emotionally upsetting for our poor souls, we will never be able to understand it. By the time we end up in politics, we will then think that these things are okay, and we'll actually forget the realities of these histories.
At the London School of Economics that you attend, Mick Jagger went there for about a year,
Yes.
I do believe, and a lot of politicians got a very highly rated academic establishment all over the world, international reputation. Well done for getting in. But it always has had this reputation, of, even in the old days, of being very left-wing, anti-establishment and all that. Mind you, being left-wing now, folks, that's not anti-establishment, that is the establishment. Being right-wing is anti-establishment. I'm here to tell you.
Establishing the champagne socialists.
Yeah, I'm here to tell you. But do you find at the LSE that you're surrounded by this pervasive nonsense that we're talking about now?
I will say, I think that at LSE they do a really good job at sort of ensuring that we all get to be able to sort of speak our mind. I'm very, very open at university about my views. I'm
very brave of you, I may say.
It is. I have lost quite a few friends over it, but I'm completely okay with that because I'm there to express my opinion. And actually, I think that a lot of the courses have been very sort of open about it. I had Milton Friedman on my course last year, so again, you know, sort of right-wing neoliberal economist. Nice. And I think that we are more open about it. The students, however, tend to be a little bit more on the left, which is completely fine if we have that discourse. Some of them can be a bit more sort of abrupt and a bit more aggressive in their views, but we are sort of more open. We have that culture of open discussion. What I'm seeing at these universities is the censorship of these texts, and actually taking away that choice from students to be able to really understand the realities of history, the realities of the content that we're looking at. And we've got to be able to understand. I mean, it's bizarre to me that in a history or literature course we don't talk about these really, really important issues. I remember reading earlier that it said that they had a trigger warning for Shakespeare because it talks about classism. It's just absolutely absurd. These are classics.
It's unbelievable. And, you know, among these, I mean, these are all great books, great plays, but Chaucer, I mean, come on, he's one of the foundation stones of English literature. What course are you actually doing, Reem?
I'm studying Bachelor of Science in Politics and History.
Politics and history, and do you find any censorship going on there? Because that's what this is. When they take these books out of courses, because it might prove upsetting for the students, they're censoring them. I mean, you wonder what will be the next move. Will they take these offending books, these offensive books, and pile them all high and set fire to them, and the burning of the books? This is the syndrome we're talking about.
No, it isn't. I think it is a slippery slope. When we start talking about these books as being emotionally insensitive, when we start saying that we're too sensitive to be able to read these books and really understand the realities of what history has shown us, we forget the history. We don't have a fully comprehensive understanding of what has actually happened. And also, you know, things like slavery, they do still occur in the world. We have, you know, modern human slavery that happens every single day. Human trafficking, I mean, we saw with the migrant boats recently, I think that Richard Tice sort of leaked the story there.
Yes,
four in 10 migrants from Albania. Yeah. And you know, those people are being exploited. They are at the risk of human trafficking and human exploitation. These are the realities that we're talking about. If we don't learn about them in history and at university, then we will never fully be able to understand them.
Yeah, by the way, last time you were on, somebody tweeted, we were talking about racism. I think we're talking about critical race theory, yes, which we both object to. Somebody tweeted a picture of you and I saying 2 white people talking about racism. I said 1, actually.
Yeah, I'm half Egyptian, half Moroccan, so no white in me at all, actually.
Exactly right. Although I do plead guilty to being white, which seems to be an
It's
offensive.
a crime now.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. So are you on your long summer break at the moment?
I am.
Because being a student's a bit like being a politician, isn't it? You get like weeks and weeks off.
Yeah, you get your summer break. Unfortunately, or fortunately for me, actually, it was my choice. I'm not having a break. I work 7 days a week currently. Monday to Friday, I'm at
I know about that as well.
Indeed. Monday to Friday, I'm at a free market think tank in Westminster interning, and weekends, I'm an 11+ teacher.
Excellent. Well, good for you, and I hope to see you again soon. And I hope they don't cancel any books on your course. That's political commentator and student at the LSE, Reem Ibrahim.